What's going on, traders? Happy Friday. Let's jump right into it. These markets are open. My name's Zach. If you're new here, this is Real Deal Futures. We're going to be live trading some ES. Going to be an awesome Friday. We're going to finish off this week strong. Come into it with some positivity after some L's. But before we jump into that, first read what's on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an idiot here on YouTube. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do here or anywhere else is a suggestion or recommendation of any kind. Do your own research. Make your own decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Now, let's jump into it. Check out this ES chart. See what we got rolling. I got links in the chat. Hop in the 100% free Discord if you are not already. Subscribe every day. Subscribe. Live trading almost every day here with you guys on YouTube. 100% free. And check out Tradeify. Code RDF, as you can see in the banner above at all your favorite prop firms. Tradeify is giving 35% off, 50K straight to funded accounts, no eval. No eval. Got a 5-pack of those bad boys myself. Been copy trading them. Just took a payout from one of my Topstep accounts this morning. It's Friday. We're getting paid. Some of it's going to go to covering a couple of ones that I am burning after taking multiple payouts. Just babysitting stuff for way too long with too many accounts. Not conducive to what I want to be doing. But we're getting paid. I'm locked into one account right now. When I start taking payouts and moving stuff around, last thing I want to do is be accidentally trading the wrong account or copy trading anything that I don't want to be copy trading. Looking to get to a spot where I can copy trade all 5, and I should be able to do that maybe into next week, after next week. I'm only going to have one that's really not at the same level as the other 4 once I get some fresh activated. But we'll kind of see what that looks like. And then maybe we'll get some copy trading live on Tradeify. Maybe we'll do some other stuff coming up soon. Excited about this month. So that's enough of that, just my personal stuff. Let's take a look at the daily. We are here on the Topstep X platform. This is Project X. We're looking at a TradingView chart. We got a 50K express funded account loaded up. See if we can't turn the last 2 days around, man. Kind of frustratingly ugly on the live sessions, to be honest. Not super happy about taking a couple L's. It happens. I just end it where I end it. You know, after taking a couple L's, if I'm not reading the market's not agreeing with me. It is what it is. Didn't get a trade on Topstep TV yesterday live. Just didn't have conviction in the longs that those guys were taking. But got some scalping in on Tradeify, and that's been paying really well. We'll probably be doing a little bit of videos and stuff like that coming up on that aggressive NQ scalping using primarily volume profile for that. It's pretty sweet. Similar approach that you see. But anyway, let's talk markets. 937. We're pushing to the upside here after this continual just sell-off, breaking below lows. Yesterday, frustrating back and forth morning, and then we did sell off into the afternoon. We can see what's happening on the day today. We have a little bit of a relief rally forming, a little bit of a push to the upside. Don't know if we're going to see this continue, but we will watch it here together. So let me drop back down to my 1-minute chart, zoom out, kind of take a look at what happened overnight. So we have session changeover here. We know we sold off really aggressively into the afternoon, popped back up, sold back off. Overnight session, we did find some buyers. We kind of drifted higher through Asia and into London. We've been holding above VWAP. We just pulled back down to VWAP, and now we are breaking to the upside, breaking overnight high to the upside. We also have value area high from yesterday's volume profile right here. I've been paying attention to just a little bit more of that volume profile from prior day regular trading hours, as opposed to having just too many VWAPs on my chart. Prior day session VWAP is down here. That's in an interesting spot. You know, it's been tested a handful of times. I'm probably going to leave that 1 on my chart today. But we are aggressively pushing to the upside so far. Just cracking overnight high. Getting a little bit of a reaction here. Now, if we maintain this structure to the upside, and we look like we might want to, and put in a somewhat of a bullish day, I could see this taking buys to the upside. Same stuff that you see me trade on here, you know, every day. Market structure, price action, looking off of key levels, off of areas of high volume, utilizing different volume tools. Not going to jump into anything, as I usually don't. We do have 10 a.m. news. That sucks. I'm not really happy about that. I'll trade through it if I have to. I would prefer not to, but it is worth acknowledging that we do have 10 a.m. Red folder news. I'll show you guys that right now. What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. 10 a.m. red folder news. It is consumer sentiment. That's the main deal. Prelim. Nothing crazy here. Like, this isn't typically a massive market mover, but it is red folder, high impact news, so we got to be cautious of that. Yeah, and then we got a pretty full week of news next week with FOMC and unemployment. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So 10 a.m. news, we'll see if we get a trade on before that. This is looking like a push to the upside. I could see it long right from around this level, but I just don't want to jump directly in the first 10 minutes of trading. Going to give this thing a little bit of time to open up. I think it's pretty likely that we come back down to this. Oh, we did test it. Yeah, this might be the run, man. This might be just a quick test right off the open of this this VWAP, this area of high volume, and then a crack to the upside to come check out these highs. That's absolutely a potential, if not the high of yesterday, the high of regular trading hours, our New York session high. We may be just cracking to the upside on this one. I don't know that we need to pull back on this and check this out again. Yeah, we got to pull back, retest, and push to the upside. This isn't bad for a long play. I'm going to go ahead and try this one long right off the rip here, guys. I'm going to come down here with a stop loss. We are breaking overnight high. We are pushing to the upside. We broke and retested and now are continuing to push to the upside. I'm going to put this trade on. I'm going to see if I can get one in before 10 a.m. because that may make for just a really difficult to trade rest of the session. But getting long here, 3 micros, nothing crazy on risk. Not going to go with a stop loss way below this level. I'm looking at this as uptrend structure, right? Testing VWAP here, testing this value area high, and aggressively buyer stepping into the upside, breaking overnight high, retesting, and then continuing to the upside. If we have to come back down and I take the stop, I will do it. I will take it again with you guys if I have to. But this is the stuff that pays me. This is the simple break and retest structure, utilizing key levels, utilizing areas of high volume. A little bit early as far as not waiting for the 15-minute opening range to set. But if we come back down through this level, this kind of choppy morning, movement where we come all the way back down through VWAP, all the way back down this area, that's cool. I'm taking my $176 loss and looking for a second trade. We also have that 10 a.m. news, so I'm anticipating maybe not wanting to be in through that if I don't have to be, and potentially some difficult to trade structure after that. So there is a little bit of pressure to say, hey, we're either going to get a trade on or we might just sit here, through 10 a.m. news and not really have anything that starts to develop. So let's see if we can get continuation to the upside. Would be targeting, a crack above this 5600 level. That's what I'd be looking for out of this area of high volume up to this area over here, somewhere up around these highs that was tested multiple times. Volume point of control from 2 days ago, regular trading session hours. We'll see if we can't get a little move to the upside. Nothing crazy. Again, right up to the 5600 to 5605 level. That's what I'm looking at. You can mark it on the chart. Yeah, right around this level, right? That's kind of what I'd be looking at. Boom, we can drag it all the way back through here. See if we can't grab some profit on the way up. See if buyers can't take it higher. We have to come lower, test this area. I want to allow for just a sweep below these lows, but not a lot of room to come all the way back down into this. We already tested here, right? We already pulled back down aggressively after continuing to the upside. I'm going to look at this as a continuation to the upside here. Let's see what we get today, boys and girls. See if we can't crack a couple red days of trading here on the live with you. Again, I'm in one account today. I don't got not copy trading across a bunch of them. Got a payout processing from this morning in one. Got a couple others that I would like to get back to a spot where we are more even on buffer so I can copy trade all 5. I'm going to be burning 2 of my oldest ones for sure. Yeah, I think this thing is either it's decision time, right? We're either going to break out or we're going to pull back. I'm putting this one on all day, man. This looks like a fine one to me. Simple price action market structure, volume. Let's not listen to an ad while we're streaming. There we go. Got a little bit of a break to the upside. Let's see if we can't get some continuation here. Let's see what we can do, boys and girls. Get some fresh music going. But I am long. 3 micros, 55.91 on MES. Stop at 55.79 and a quarter. Forgetting L's from yesterday, not bringing any of that negative loser's mindset to today. It's a fresh day. Market doesn't give an F about what we did yesterday or the day before or this morning or anything. Put your trades on as you see them come. Stick to your approach, stick to your strategy, stick to your guns, manage risk, and that's all we can do. So, again, let's see if we can get a push up towards. This is nice. We got some buying momentum stepping in. Really want to see a push up towards these 5600s, past it into the 5605s. I would really like that for a trade. I'm probably going to want to get out of this one before the 10 a.m. news. Again, we have red folder news at 10 a.m. So a little bit of pressure to kind of like get in, get out, either for a win or a loss. Otherwise, you are running through, high impact news event, which can be dicey. So I'm going to look to grab this. If we come up into this level, we'll see what we get here. We reverse harshly and come all the way back in. It's going to be a gnarly move. I'd like to not move stop loss, like on a day where we don't have news in 14 minutes. I'd really like to not move stop loss, just allow this thing to play out with my wide enough stop to continue the upside, because that's the trade thesis. On a day like today, it presents an interesting dynamic where we have that 10 a.m. news. So I got to make a decision. Either look to take it off, really quickly right around that level, either for, profit or loss, or to hold through. It's probably just going to depend on whether or not we hit an area for profit target. We come back down. I'm probably just going to leave it on through it. Just let it ride. I'm looking at 02, 5602, where we have some liquidity up here. Wouldn't mind grabbing it just a little bit early to get out of it before 10 a.m. if we continue up. We come all the way back down into this range. Check this area out. I'm not going to love it, but I'm probably going to leave it on. Okay, so let's see if we can go and grab some liquidity, and we can just make this a quick one. Jump in and out, and then maybe get past red folder news. We got some volume being traded here for sure on these pushes to the upside. That was a pretty aggressive pullback, and then an immediate rejection back up towards testing these highs. Finding some sellers right at this 5600 level. I'm looking at Bookmap, and we've got orders right at about 5602. 5603. So if we start to come up towards that level, I'm probably going to grab it. Why? I think we are still likely to continue up here, but we might start to see sellers here. And as we get closer to this clock ticking for 10 a.m. news, I don't really want to be in a trade watching it pull back and then looking for it to continue if I got a time limit running. So let's see what we could do. Let's see what we can do. Okay, looking for these, that's 5,600. Looking for these 5602s to be traded out. We got some liquidity up here. Would like to see just a quick crack through, and I'm going to look to grab profit on this one. Oh, it's coming off the book. I'm grabbing it right here, guys. I'm grabbing it right here, and I'll show you why. 155 bucks. That's less than a 1-to-1. I'm going to grab it right there, and I'll show you why. Nice to grab a winner, though. No complaints on a no complaints on a winner. No complaints on grabbing, you know, 10, 11 points right off the rip. So we are trading through those 02s, 03s. I'll show you what influenced that quick decision. As we started to come up, this is the algorithmic stuff that I don't pay attention to. Nice positive cumulative volume delta as well. This is the algorithmic stuff on Bookmap that I don't pay attention to. This is Bookmap level 2 data. I'm watching orders come on the book. We can see we had some right here, and then what happened? You know, quite a bit of volume traded. We did have a reaction to the downside. These are sell orders being filled. We had quite a bit of sell orders come on the book. You can see that right here, right? Decent stack of orders right here. Yeah, it was actually 03. If I was a little bit more zoomed in, that wasn't 5602. I was a little zoomed out there and looking at this number right there. As we started to get close to it, they started pulling that. It didn't look like it got just moved up. We saw a little bit come on the book. That can turn into like spoofing manipulation where we just don't see continuation. It gets pulled. Market participants that are watching this, or for whatever reason, the market goes up. There's nothing up there for me. I'm not going to continue. I'm just going to start to turn away. But today we did trade through that level. We're trading 04s right now. All good. But that's the reason for that quick decision, right? If I'm targeting a level, which I was, right? I've mentioned that a handful of times, and then it starts to get pulled, I got to make a split-second decision and say, I'm not going to use that anymore as a target, right? Maybe my just discretionary level above, where we still have some orders on the book up here, quite a bit. But like we talked about, game plan for that one, real quick, get in, get out before 10 a.m. news. We have red folder news in 8 minutes, about 8 minutes. I prefer not to hold through it if I don't have to. Price may rocket in the direction that I'm trading, but there's a chance that it rockets directly to a stop loss, right? And there's an increase in volatility around trading through that. So if I can avoid trading through that, I will. So no problem on that one. Happy with that. Took a quick win. Grabbed some profit. Nothing major, right? Not risking a massive amount. 155 bucks. Was risking about 170 some odd bucks, so a little less than a 1-to-1. But based on liquidity and Bookmap, I'm happy to grab that, man. Happy to grab profit. My data showed me a couple things like I was talking about last week, reviewing here on ES. Grab quick profit when you see fit at levels. Don't hold on to it all day, and don't move your stop loss. Those were two things that stood out to me very quickly. I had a lot of opportunity on a lot of trades to grab decent profit, not try to turn it into a 1.5-to-1 or a 2-to-1 hold through a big level. And I hadn't, and it had come back to stop me at break even. And second piece was I had a lot of trades that came back to break even only to go all the way to take profit rather than stop loss. So reviewing my trades, trusting my journal, trusting my data, those are the things that it tells me to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Not focusing so heavily on, any one metric, and just slightly adapting to the market, right? The market environment that we're in. So quick W, again, not really heavy, not like not wrapping up and outweighing, the $300 plus to $400 L's that I've taken in one account, which is copy traded the last couple of days. So we're not done. We're not done here. We're going to watch to see what happens after this 10 a.m. news, see if we can't get a second setup. But first trade, W. Could have had a little bit more risk on that one as well. Could have went with 4 micros on that and still been okay. Made it about 225. That would have put us over a little bit of a $200 day, but we're all good. We're all good. See what we get for the next setup here. And again, guys, like breaking down reasons for that trade, right? Let's talk about it. Right? I talk about the losers. I'm going to talk about the winners. Bullish structure overall through overnight session, right? Through Asia, through London, pushing to the upside. At the open and into pre-market, we're selling off a bit, and we have a pretty damn clear level right here, right? I'll keep it zoomed out. We have VWAP. We have value area high from prior day's session profile, which, again, just kind of starting to pay attention to volume profiles for prior day. I do love this volume profile. You've been watching me trade with this for quite a while, utilizing some additional volume profiles as well. VWAP, value area high, and area of high volume, even if I'm not using value area high. Area of high volume, temporary point of control. We come back to test that and then crack directly to overnight high, right? We start to zoom in, see what this looks like on the price action on the 1 minute chart. We crack overnight high, pull back down, and then immediately come back up to highs. That to me tells me buyers are in control. We want to take this thing higher. We got close enough testing VWAP, testing area of high volume, that I don't think it's really likely that we need to pull back here again before continuing to the upside. Stop loss down below this area, just in case we do have to dance around a little bit, give the trade room to breathe. Buying into buying pressure to the upside here. Looking for a move to, and we got all the way up there, so could have grabbed a little bit more on this one. Looking to a move to, if I zoom out, this area of high volume, right? If I start to display some different information on this chart. This area of high volume, which coincides with basic support and resistance levels, prior highs from yesterday's regular trading session hours, right? Below prior day high. Very, very simple stuff. Very simple stuff. Again, does the simple stuff always work? No. Took L's the last 2 days with you guys on here. But here it is paying me today. That's the deal. Come in fresh. Market doesn't care about what happened yesterday, what you did yesterday, and put your trades on. Took profit right around the 602 level, actually right at it. We did have liquidity at 603. Was watching that. It came off the book as we started to come up into that level. That's an indication that I don't want to hold through. I don't want to hold through a crack above that as I was anticipating. But this did make it to our nice discretionary level up here, this area of high volume. Very simple. Definitely could have grabbed another 20 ticks out of that bad boy to the top of these highs. But all good. All good. Took the win, got in, got out. Like I said, there's an added amount of pressure that is, okay, we're entering down here and we're in profit. 10 a.m. news is coming out. If we really don't want to hold through 10 a.m. news, we are now adding a different dynamic to this trade and saying, I think it's going to go here, and I think it's going to go here in 10 minutes. That's very different than saying, well, here's my take profit, here's my stop loss. I think we're going to get here first before we hit my stop loss. Not, we're going to get here and we're going to get here in 10 minutes. We're going to go there right now. So I'm happy to get out before 10 a.m. red folder news, which is coming up in 3 minutes. Got red folder news in 3 minutes. Not a major market mover. This is traditionally not a major one, but I'd prefer not to hold through it if I don't have to. So we'll see what we get for 10 a.m., man. If you're on here, smash the like button, hit subscribe. If you are trading with prop firms, which I'm betting that majority of you guys are, remember, I'm biased. I stand to make money from links in my content. Check out the link to Tradeify. Straight to funded accounts, no eval. If you're confident in your system and your approach, check them out. Check out code RDF. The 50K standard is $509. It brings it down to $330 last I checked. 35% off. You could be trading in a funded account as a funded trader today, working towards a payout. Different rules, different consistency rules, minimum days to payout, buffer, right? All of these fun things, but hell of an opportunity in my humble opinion. If you trade with TickTickTrader, you trade with one of the other really popular firms, go ahead and use code RDF if you find value in my content. Help me out on the back end. Help yourself out. Get the best deal. That code provides the best deal. Whatever they are running with the most aggressive discount, that code matches it. And outside of that, appreciate you hanging out with me here on YouTube, streaming for free. If you're not in the free community, hop in the free community. Not a VIP feeder program. No crazy BS in there. Just an awesome community of traders sharing what's working, what's not working, wins, losses, everything in between. Got guys getting funded, getting paid out. We got guys blowing accounts. We got everything in between. So check out this level, man. You know, a hell of a level here. Really, really, really well respected. And again, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of a volume profile. I'm really paying more and more attention to it here on these U.S. indices because it just makes so much sense to me, and it seems to work so damn well. So you'll probably see me, you know, remove more from my chart and focus even heavier on volume profile. But like I've talked about in the past, coming from the Forex world where I had no volume at all, and order flow, being able to add these two things in, such a game changer, man. Every tool on my chart outside of the basic levels, and even many of the levels, is a volume tool. All volume tools. Ooh. Ooh, aggressive. MES moved to open status. I don't know what that was. Aggressive push to the downside. So, here's our 10 a.m. news. This is why I didn't want to hold through it. This is why I was not intending to hold through this 10 a.m. news. Aggressive volatility. We don't know if it's going to go up or down. If you were short on this one, you know, you get paid. But, you know, there's an example where I have a trade playing out really nicely, and I don't want to hold into red folder news because my stop loss down here probably ran through. I would have got slipped, taken a larger loss than I would have wanted to. And it's not just great trading, man. If you got a, you know, you're trading like 100 Apex accounts or even Topstep or whatever, and you want to just YOLO combines or even your XFA for some godforsaken reason into news, that's probably a good opportunity to do it. You know, it's just so violent that you're either going to generate a big profit or blow the account. But that's pretty much all that news trading is good for me. You know, like some guys trade the aftershock of this. They trade the afterglow. They're really aggressive momentum traders, and I've tested with that a little bit. Just not my forte. It's just too aggressive. It's so volatile, and the volatility changes so rapidly that it's difficult to work with. So not a big fan of trading news. Really prefer to not trade it if I don't have to. If I'm in a situation, like for example, I was in that trade and maybe it was down around like, you know, below break even or something, I might just for the sake of leaving the trade on because I'm going to get stopped out, you know, potentially anyway, might leave it on. But again, you run the risk of like, let's say my stop was down here somewhere, right? I think it was down here somewhere. You know, you could get slipped quite a bit on news. It's traditionally not something that you see in the futures market. But when you get really, really volatile news events, it does happen. You know, it's fair game to get slipped a large number, and you can take on, you know, unfortunately, a larger loss. Positive slippage is a thing as well, right? If you have a take profit set. But you got to be cautious of that. Be cautious of that as well. So added risk. But aggressive sell-off. Cracking the VWAP and then aggressively reacting here, looking like we don't want to move lower. Again, we're only 2 minutes into this, but I'm looking at this gun to my head. I'm long back up to these highs. Stop loss below this level. Looks like that might pay right now. If we do that, that's really going to make a case to say we want to move higher, right? We're going to come and check these out again. Sure, we could find sellers here, but that would really make a case like we cleaned everybody out that was long. And now we're going to come back across this area up to this level that's been tested multiple times and try to break prior day's high and turn this into, you know, a nice bullish recovery Friday. So I wouldn't mind looking long on this after we found some structure. But again, another reason I wanted to get a trade on quickly if one presented itself, which it did, is this becomes hard to trade off of, right? Now I have, you know, 177, 44-ish point range to work with. If we blast right up to these highs, it doesn't give me a really, really clean way to structure risk, right? I'm going to have to go off of something else to try to find a way to structure risk. So, you know, I would need, you know, maybe some structure to form and then be looking for, you know, continuation, and we get some invalidation levels to the bottom. If this just rips back up to the upside, it really does jack up structure for us. But we'll see what Friday's got for us, man. You should tie up with Bulenox too. That's a good firm. Guess what, Wolf? You can use code RDF at Bulenox or Bulenox, however you say it. Haven't tested with them, but I am set up to have that code work. Use them at your own discretion, right? You know, I can't speak to anything that I don't have a lot of experience with. But you can go ahead and use code RDF for all the best deals at that firm. I like that they have Project X. As you can see what I'm trading right now, I'm a fan of that. They are another one that I'm looking to leverage as I am slowly working into some additional firms. Right now, I'm pretty focused on Tradeify. I got 5 accounts with them now, copy trading, 550K straight to funded accounts. I'm getting comfortable on Tradeivate, getting comfortable with TradeSyncer, making mistakes on those, right? New platforms, fat fingering stuff, you know, frustrating as it is, but just trying to get comfortable with that. But yeah, check that out. Go into you're in the Discord. Check out the Discord and check out the description of this video. There's a list of all of them. I also note which ones have Project X if you're a fan of Project X. But yeah, I like to YOLO a live account. XFA isn't worth the effort. With the dumb looking dinosaur. I don't know what these emojis that you get are, brother, but they're hysterical. Yeah, there's the troll in you speaking. I'm seeing this through short lens. Okay. Nice. Okay, cool, man. Good to get positive review from that. You know, that's a real big benefit of having a community as well. Again, if you guys are not in a community and you want to check out an awesome one, moderated by yours truly, focused, hop in the free community. But I get to hear from guys like you that say, yeah, this firm's good, this firm sucks, you know, different reviews, different feedback. You get a good feel for what's going on. But glad to hear that. You're seeing this through a short lens. Yeah, so let's kind of talk about that. So, you know, if I look at this zoomed out on the 15-minute, this is a lot of crap on my chart, man. I'm not a fan of having this much on my chart. It starts to bother me. I'm going to have to take some stuff off. We're going to be cleaning it up for next week. I could feel it. You feel it coming. If I'm looking at this through just a little bit higher time frame perspective, right? Like looking at through the last few days to the beginning of this month, very weak coming into this area, right? We know on the daily, this is an important area, right? Where it's not a surprise that we're finding some buyers here after cracking below this low here from September. And we could see these highs put in all before really impulsive moves, right? This was tested, aggressively sold off from here, tested again, sold off, and then cracked through finally. You could also see it tested as some support and resistance here, although it was sliced through right there. So key level on real high time frames, you know, what I would call more like medium time frames, like the 15-minute zoomed out. We are continuing to push lower, albeit we're starting to chop sideways, right? We're not just selling as aggressively off breaking lows. You know, we are starting to come out to the side here. So we are finding some support down here, finding some buyers, you know, failing to move lower. And then as we jump into the day, you know, what did we see? We had a pretty gnarly down day after the morning back and forth BS, and then a recovery. Overnight session, we had a nice recovery to the upside. Now, can it just be a pullback before we, and sellers are going to reload and we aggressively sell off into Friday? Absolutely. That's on the board, and that would line up with higher time frame and medium time frame trends. As we move down to the lower time frame right here, right now, like what am I seeing objectively? Strength through Asia, London, holding above VWAP, high in the session, breaking overnight high, putting highs in for the day. On this news, we cracked lower really aggressively, but buyers immediately took it back up. There's no follow through here. So at least for now, until we come back down through this low, nothing for me is calling short. You know, it's just not the way that I read the market, right? Just my interpretation of price action market structure. That was a gnarly move lower. Really cracking the downside, and then buyers took it right back up. Let me reset my VWAPs here. So, you know, right now, nothing. I don't have any trade. But this to me still looks like a potential long play. But like I said, making the case for the short, if we are just having sellers reload and then continue that higher time frame trend of just selling off, blast through, overnight high, yesterday's volume point of control all the way through, towards prior day low. Sure, we could see that gnarly down day. Here's the short. I mean, here's the short of my analysis here. Is this the one that draws? Yeah. And then Command Z. Nice. Above this high, after putting this type of low in, I'm looking long. Below this low, where we start to run this to the downside, I am looking short. I'm looking short. I don't know that I would be the first buying a breakout above or selling a breakout below, but I would look to start to sell down below this level on structure to the downside, and I'd look to buy up above this level on structure to the upside. Because if we do either one of those things, I think we are likely to see some continuation. I stand the risk, as I always do, of this just being choppy, right? And I start to buy off the highs, and in fact, we're just going to chop back and forth for the day. But I would interpret this as some continuation to the upside if we start to break this high before breaking down this low. And I would conversely interpret this as sellers stepping back in, just an immediate pull back up, no continuation higher, and a potential for continuation lower if we get down below this low. But we got a big range to work with here. Like I just said, as this printed, this can present some difficult to work with structure, right? We have to picture, where are we going to put a stop loss? Where is a clean invalidation point? When we put our trades on. But that's my thought process. That's my thought process. Neutral, as I usually am, but leaning long based on all of the objective things I have on my chart that would display a potential move to the upside here, up until we get down below this low, in which case we are showing from this lower time frame and current session trend that we want to move lower. Bookmap is not really helping me out too much. I don't have anything crazy. We got orders up at 5,600 again. Nice round psychological number. And we have orders over at 5610, a little bit more above. Yeah, it's making a case for the move to the upside. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to hang out with you guys. Probably not going to make it an all-day trading session, but I would like to get another one on, right? I'd like to find another opportunity, put a little bit of profit in this one account. I don't like wrapping up green days extremely early if I'm going to take a second trade on red days, right? I have to ask myself, do I want all my red days to be larger than my green days? And the answer is no. So how do I do that? Either got to catch a banger right off the bat or keep trading. Keep trading, finding a second entry the way that I would if I was stopped out on that first one. So that's the thought process there. Brian, stop run. What's up, man? What's up? What's up? Good to see you, man. Good to hear from you. Hope trading's going well this week. Hope you're locking up risk every day. We'll see what this market's got to do for us today. But yeah, man, last couple days were a little bit tricky. Wednesday, I would definitely say I said it out loud 100 times, and it was just the way that I was viewing the market. But I was carrying a bias that just didn't help me, and it can be difficult to beat on a day like that when you're wrong. Yesterday is just a tough one. Yesterday, I'm taking both those trades, and we just had a big back and forth, choppy movement before we finally made a decision. And, I'm caught in that. It's hard to avoid. It's hard to avoid by any measure, but, it happens. You take L's. As I said yesterday, no trades for me till market picks a direction. I don't want to get triggered or lose my account in the chop. My idea of risk management. Yeah, sure. Until then, developing new strategy and back testing and forward testing, and eating popcorn and watching. Cool, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, your approach might be like from a higher time frame. If we're not really trending aggressively to the upside, that you may want to just stay out. If your strategy, your approach says we are trading with the trend, with momentum, in one very directionally, and we're kind of chopping around down here, yeah, you might say this calls for me to just stay out. I'm not going to get involved here. This is not it for me. So nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So watching a retest of VWAP here. This is a buy opportunity if you wanted it really aggressively from down here. I could see it. We got buyers stepping in. Area of high volume on the volume profile down here. Let me zoom out and reset that a little bit. I could see it really aggressively off of this level if you were carrying, you know, a thesis that we are going to move higher. You'd be able to get a really wide stop on this and say, hey, I'm dead wrong if we move lower. But I think we're going to break the highs and continue the upside. I'm not sold on it just yet, but there's absolutely a case to be made for a very aggressive buy. For me, in the way that I'm trading that's just a little bit too high time frame of a perspective. I'm watching what happens down here after we cracked this. Pulled up, failed to break highs, come all the way back down to VWAP. I could see this as a buying opportunity to the upside. Again, right here, right now, this is forming some structure to the downside where we may start to sell off through this level. But for a very aggressive buy, just back up to these highs, you could have a pretty clean risk structure. But I'm going to wait on this, wait for some more structure. If we're going to move higher, I want to see us start to move outside of this area. Doing okay, brother. I found out I can use my Tradeify accounts on NinjaTrader. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Tradeify, NinjaTrader, right? Purchase Guardian Angel and set a bunch of limits. Most importantly, a contract limit. Nice. Very nice. And Brian's long from down here. Hell yeah. Yeah. I see it, man. I'm tempted on it. Again, if I took this one, it would be a little bit more like my second trade yesterday where I'm going for a wider stop loss, wider target. You know, I don't see putting a stop loss like right here. I'd have to get it like way down here to say, like, you know, if we start to come all the way lower, I do think I'm dead wrong. But you could absolutely have a positive risk to reward just back up to this high, and even nicer if you held onto it to the upside. But I think stop's got to be down, you know, down below this level. But I'm tempted on it off of VWAP as well. It's not a bad play. It's not a bad play. It's just a little bit higher time frame that I'm trying to trade on this 1 minute. I'm looking a little bit more for tighter stops, tighter targets, not trying to capture the whole damn move. But this is making a case for an aggressive entry to the long side. Conversely, we come through this level, we come through that wick. I think we're headed lower, and I think we're headed lower fast. Yeah, I'm gonna wait on this one. It's just not the one for me. And if it rips, I'm gonna have to live with that. But I'm gonna wait and be late to the party. Look for some more structure on this. This will just be a little bit aggressive for me. But we'll see what we get. Yeah, stop under the candle wick. I agree. Wolf, it's not just the trend. 100-point pullbacks on the MNQ, 50+ points on 1 minute candle. You're bound to get caught unless your entry is perfect, and I don't have perfect entries. So, gotcha. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So I'm gonna try to like ask you to elaborate. So if you're waiting for, if this is chopping around, if you're saying, you know, the market has to pick a direction, what would to you indicate the market picking a direction, and what would allow there to potentially not be 100-point pullbacks and 50-point, you know, pullbacks on 1 minute candles? Like, how are you going to know when the market picks a direction? You know, what are you going to wait for? Because I think these are good points, but it becomes difficult to say, like, okay, well, now the market has picked a direction, so I'm going to trade. You know, how far does it have to move? What level does it have to get to? how does it have to do that? And what would stop it from pulling back 100 points once it gets to that area where you don't have to have perfect entries? Because, again, I think it's a good idea, but I don't know if I can ever get that that type of clarity that you're describing there by waiting for a certain time in the markets. And that's kind of why I show up every day to trade outside of right around major US holidays, which we are not right around, but around Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, and I've talked about that before. Right around major US holidays, especially I'm trading US indices, it just seems to not be fun to trade those. So I don't. But outside of that, and then like major events, right? Like the election or something, right? Like I don't want to be trading, directly through something that might be a wild increase in volatility. So, but I'll challenge you to answer that one if you can. No worries, no pressure. Again, because it kind of comes to like the same thing where I hear a lot of guys say like, oh, like there's always a reason not to trade. No news Monday. If you trade on Fridays, you're an idiot. If you trade on, before CPI or before FOMC or after FOMC, like there's always a reason not to trade, right? For me, why do I not trade around US holidays, right before, right after, or during? Sometimes right before and right after, but definitely not during. The US markets, or a lot of the markets, are closed, or about to close, and that gives price action and structure this wildly more unpredictable change in volatility, right? Not more unpredictable as to whether or not it's going to go up or down, but rapid and unpredictable changes in volatility where I can't anticipate structuring my risk in any normal type of way if I just have such rapid changes in volatility. And based on historical data, that serves to be consistent. So again, that's not extremely objective, but that's my reasoning behind that. So pulling back to value area high again, just cracking below this area of high volume, this temporary volume point of control, man. Finding buyers every time we pull back lower, but we did just move lower. This would be a gnarly reversal play, and I got to keep myself from taking these. But I could absolutely see the buy from down here, man. Plenty of opportunity. Brian being long down here. Here's your play, guys. If you're looking for this to continue to the upside. Beautiful 2-to-1, just back up to prior highs on the session. This is just a little bit aggressive, and I would need a wide stop loss on this bad boy. Really low risk, and I'd be looking for a really, really large move like this. I just don't think I'm going to put this one on. I'm going to look for something tighter. If we start to break this, okay, so we cracked up above, came back to this area of high volume. If we kind of like trade back through these lows and then pull it again, I might try this. Because now we will start to get some, at least basic low time frame structure to the upside. So let's kind of see what we get here. Yeah, I would have to wait. Here's what I'm going to have to wait for. Because this might rip. So it might absolutely just, the floor might fall off. We might just sell back. If we continue up, I'm going to wait for something along these lines. Right? I'm going to wait for some pullback to this VWAP a second time. Although we kind of got it right here. And that would give me a clearer risk structure. Worse entry up here, but some more indication that we are potentially going to move higher. Okay, let's see. We got that crack above. Let's see if we get some kind of pullback down towards this area, or if we just take off from here. I'd love to see one more pullback. Sellers fail to take it lower, and then a continuation again. But I might be asking for a lot on this, and you know, now is an opportunity with a stop just below this low. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Yeah. Brian, I think this might play for you, man. I think this might play nice with you. Let's see what we get. Appreciate you guys being on here, hanging out. We took one W, pretty close off the open before that news. Looking for a second setup, potentially looking long out of this area. Checking Bookmap, not too much helping me on the order flow side. Nothing crazy screaming at me here. Okay, let's see what we get here now. Pull back to this area of high volume. We come down and crack this low. It's not going to look good, but I don't know that we do. I think we might just be pulling back in here and continuing. And I'm going to look to try this long. Tempted to try it long from right up here. If we come lower through this, I think it is a move to the downside. There's definitely potential for another, you know, sweep down below these lows before a larger movement to the upside today. But this is an opportunity from down around this area of high volume, like we took that first trade on, back up towards this area of high volume again, and potentially through towards prior day high. Yeah, I might look to take it around these 75s. I'm gonna have to see what happens when we get down there. We got some sellers bringing it back down. Here's our NYP up. I'm gonna try this from down here, guys. Ooh, that's a little bit heavier than I want to be. That's a little bit heavier than I want to be on this. Yeah, I'm gonna try it from down here. I'm looking at this area potentially holding. Yeah. So I jumped in with 3. Did a little bit of measuring, but we started to move back up on that. This is not the risk structure that I want. A little bit heavier than I'd like to be, but I'm going to leave this one as is. I'm going to look for this area of high volume being tested multiple times, support being found at VWAP, not continuing through this low, at least just here, right now. Some structure forming to the upside, pulling back down to retest, buying pressure to the upside. I want to see this start to break. That's an ugly ass entry, top ticking this candle right here. But I'd like to see structure break to the upside and then continue towards this high. If we get that just towards this high, presents a really, really nice risk structure. Conversely, if we start to move, I think we're going to aggressively move lower through this level. We come through this area of high volume to check these lows out. I think I'm toast, and in fact, it is going to be a short. Don't know that I would get a third trade on with this bad boy, but I'm going to look for this to move to the upside. So I am long 55.84, waited quite a bit for some structure to form to the upside, a little bit more of dancing around, and then some possible continuation. But I don't love how heavy I'm in with this one, really at all. This should have been a 2 micro. Just didn't realize my stop was going to have to be as wide as it was. Is what it is now in it, and always have the option to scale back, to scale out of one and reduce, realize a small loss. But I'm going to let this one run. I got profit in the account. 262.50. Let's do the math to be somewhat exact. This comes down and stops me out. Yeah, I'm be out for like 110 bucks. I'm cool with that. Well within my my risk structure, kind of where I want to be at with these accounts on the day. Especially if I'm trading one, you know, I'm okay realizing, you know, 400 some odd dollar loss. That's okay. So we are long on this bad boy. Let's see what we can get. See what we can get out of this area. So let's see. I asked some questions. I know the chat's talking. Squeeze these MFers. Yeah, squeeze them. Let's see it, Brian. Since about February, the MNQ was falling 100 200 points at the open. Recognize that pattern after a week. I was trading that idea, even posted on Discord. Yep. Let's see, a lot of space to the upside. Average daily ADV high at 56.62. Yeah, we get a run like that, man. We're off to the races. We get a run like that. Yes, open above value area high, holding value area high as well. If it don't work, it don't work. Yeah, awesome. So Brian, let me ask you this: if you're still on here, where do you have from your TPO or session TPO charts? Where do you have value area high? I like volume profile, like my simple volume profile stuff on low time frames, so I utilize that. But I'm curious to where you have that marked. Wolf, then price entered a zone on the daily. It's trending near September lows, where the price action is showing huge whiplashes. Sure. 55.69 and a quarter. Yeah, so almost the same spot that I have. So for me, marking it from prior day session volume profile for regular trading hours, that's where I'm grabbing these levels from. I think that's what I'm going to stick with for now. But I had my line this morning at 55.71, so we're right there. Good stuff. Thank you, brother. So reading Wolf stuff. Let's hope so, brother. I want this to be a one and done Friday. Yeah, send it, man. Let's go. Let's go. Looking good, right? We're coming out of this area. Now, again, we can chop here for a while. We can chop here around this really big, you know, temporary volume area. But if I zoom out a little bit, we get a little more granular view. Sorry, I'm bouncing between reading the chat and looking at this trade. Let's go ahead and change the setting on here. Yeah, I'm probably gonna run it like what happens if I put like a massive number in here just out of curiosity? No, that's 50. Ooh. Well, it kind of max out at 500. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's leave that for now. So if I zoom out on this volume profile, you know, we could be in trouble if we break through this level here, you know, down in this area, down around VWAP. I think we could quickly come back down towards that low, these lows again, potentially back down through that towards this area right down here, obviously. If we continue to the upside, though, when we start to get out of all of this crap, you know, next levels would be back up here to come and check this out again. And again, that's going to be a nice positive risk reward for me. We continue to the upside and really just follow this trend. We're going to make this a nice bullish day. Yeah, I could absolutely see movement, you know, above prior day high. Probably not going to be my trade. Again, I'm going to look to just snag some profit if we continue back up towards these highs before we come down and tag me out. If we can get some movement out of this area of high volume that we've tested a couple times, I could see a sweep lower before we do it if we're going to get a large movement, right? Like a lot of times we do get these larger sweeps lower, but we did. We kind of swept. We didn't kind of. We swept down here really aggressively to the 60s, low 60s. We pulled back down again and then found buyers. You know, we had an opportunity to take this thing lower twice, really aggressively. And buyers have just stepped in to hold it. So I'm going to trade with that trend, with that simple market structure, price action, and volume. And again, if I have to take an L, I'll take an L. And $100, $110 red across 2 trades in the pursuit of a nice profit to the upside. So let's see what we can do on this. Let's see what we can do on this bad boy. But back to the chat. We'll let this one play out. So, price entered a zone. We were talking about, you know, how you kind of quantify what we're talking about here, Wolf. Personally, don't like these whiplashes, but price goes back up. Okay. Maybe break the 20,200 level to the upside or the... Okay, that's really far away. So, breaking retest of NY entry. David, thanks for the input there, man. Yeah, so reading this, man, I see it. Takes a lot of time and effort. Yeah, I think waiting for, you know, I think waiting for those larger movements again can be helpful if that's, you know, if that's your approach. For me, by the time we hit that large of a movement, I don't know that we see any different type of movement out of NQ. So I think that stuff can be a little bit hard to quantify. But again, if you are noticing different things within what's going on in the market and you're adapting to that by either holding off trading or trading less aggressively or more aggressively, you know, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, so you do your thing, man, for sure. But I don't think it, like, by the time we get there, if we see a day where we don't get a lot of movement or volatility, that will be the change. I think you can certainly watch ATR, you can watch the average movements, and if you say this volatility is just not for me, I want to wait for that to die down, that's fine. You know, that can be okay. How long does it take to die down? Will it die down, or will it just increase from there? You know, that's all out for debate. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I appreciate you just elaborating a little bit further. You know, but again, like, I won't agree to say objectively price is super whippy right now, and you know, we have, like, you know, it's just so much more difficult to trade. I think it's going to work well for some guys and work less well for other guys, right? But day over day, we want to adapt a little bit to volatility just by sizing. But that's just kind of my 2 cents. So, oh, that right, yeah. If price can break that lower high, we're gonna run. Also, we are slowly trending to the upside. You caught the middle of the day. Trade is looking good though. Well, either way, isn't or is. We're gonna find out. You'll be right either way, Quinn. Yeah, man. If you missed the, you know, the reasons for this trade, the kind of thought process here, trending to the upside on lower time frames, right? Counter to the massive movement that we've been seeing to the downside. But after yesterday's low getting put in, we did have some buyers step in, take it higher overnight. Through Asia, through London, we've maintained VWAP. At the open, caught along, you know, up to this level, up to this the 602s, just playing off of that simple price action and market structure. We've come down to test this area multiple times. That news wick to the downside immediately bought back up. Buyers didn't rip it higher, so there's concern there. We came down to test this thing lower. Again, we tested VWAP, and we had buyers step right back in and continue to try to take this thing higher out of this area of high volume. We had opportunity to move lower already. You know, we're wearing on into the trading session. If a decision is going to be made, to me, it looks like it's higher from this level up until we come down through my stop loss, crack this low again, and continue lower. If we come back through this level, that's where my invalidation point is. I do think we're going to continue lower. I think this is going to turn into a down day, and, you know, we may see some serious selling pressure. Third option, we just chop, right? We just kind of get this choppy back and forth day where we're going to dance around VWAP. We're going to just kind of come to the outside limits of this this high volume area, and we're really not going to do anything. We're not going to really break highs or lows, and we're just going to chop around. Those are always frustrating. It happens. You get taken out. We really don't get direction to the downside either. But do I think it's really likely that we'd like do this? No, I don't. I think that we did that multiple times already. If we're going to move higher, now's its chance. We're getting some momentum to the upside. Showing me 150 bucks in this trade. I'm going to leave it on. Again, I'm looking for a move back towards these highs before potentially grabbing some profit. This thing could run, like I talk about. This could turn into a gnarly move to the upside. Could be a much larger day if this continues. If we don't just reverse here and just rip my face off to the stop loss, this could absolutely be a larger day to the upside. It's just not my trade. It's just not exactly what I'm going to look to capture. I don't find myself doing really well on those unless I'm really, really zoomed out, really wide. I'm on the 15-minute, the 30-minute chart. I like grabbing my quick profit and calling it a day. But again, I'm not going to grab this one right here. I'm not going to move stop loss. I'm going to allow for a retest all the way back down into this area. I want to see us come towards these highs, probably take it before the highs. I don't know that I would let it run all the way through. We do have some liquidity right up here at the 600. So if we can get through this, it'll be looking good. But we could see sellers step in right here. We got about 120 on the book. Not a massive amount of volume on this, but we are approaching it again, this round psychological number that we've seen reaction from multiple times, right? Like look at that test and then massive sell-off. We're coming back up to it again. I want to see a breakthrough and a run back up towards the highs of this session. Gonna hold on to this one, guys. Gonna hold on to this one. There's a case to be made to just grab it here and call it a day. Here we are, another 14 and a half points in profit on a trade. Decent. I like it. Not a beautiful entry. I got a wide stop. I need this bad boy to move a little bit more. That's my game plan. That's my trade management. Andre, what's up? Resistance zone will be a good point for profit taking. Yeah. I'm glad someone saw something today. This PA is not for me. Yeah, this is tough. I don't know. We don't know if I saw something yet. We're fixing to find out, as they say in the South. Rejecting off these highs again, this could be a problem, man. This 600s could be a problem. If we crack it, I'm looking for profit up around these highs. Not gonna look to let this thing run, although it might absolutely take off. But that's gonna be my management. Do you trade or stop loss when you are green? Sometimes, but not usually. More often than not, and what I've been talking about on ES is moving my stop loss to break even has hurt me far more times than it has helped me. This is individual to me and my trading, but just what my data shows objectively. I have plenty of live sessions last week, 2, where I moved stop loss to break even after we were very close to my take profit, but didn't hit. Came back to break even, did not continue to stop loss, continued to the upside, ripped my take profit out of the way, and just continued. So I will have to realize trades like this that may move into profit, come back to stop loss, come back to break even, and then all the way to stop loss in the pursuit of holding towards my take profit. Because I'm finding in my data, and this is the benefit of journaling, that for me, I have more that don't continue to my stop loss after moving in profit. I have more that continue to my entry again and then push to the upside. So I'm going to be willing to realize $262 of loss on this trade after it shows me $200 in profit, letting a green trade turn red, because that's what my data shows me I should do. So, for you might say, no, bro, stop loss to break even, that doesn't work for me. My approach doesn't call for that. That's cool. Totally cool. Rely on what your strategy says and what your approach says. It completely depends on where your entries are, a million different factors. But there's simple axioms like, never let a green trade turn red. That's not one that I agree with. I don't think that makes sense, right? You can't go broke taking profit. You can go broke taking profit, right? You can go broke taking profit at 2 ticks when your stop loss is 100 ticks every day. So, it's not as always simple and cut and dry in trading as it seems to be. But one thing holds true. Trust your data, trust your results, right? Your data, your results are going to show you what you should and shouldn't be doing. It's going to show you if you're helping yourself with your trade management or you're hurting yourself. It's always easier to go risk-free, right? It will make me feel better moving this trade to break even right now. I'll say, oh, well, I'm going to end the live green and $154 on a Friday, but my data shows me I shouldn't do that. My data shows me in the long run, I'm going to lose more money doing that. So I have to make the hard call here with you guys live and potentially watch it work out poorly this trade, this individual trade, in the pursuit of the large sample size, right? Like that's the big thought process here. I don't know what's going to happen right now. Trump could sneeze or say tariff, and we could rip my face off to the downside. Totally could happen. We could just drift lower. We're not going to move higher on this move. We come back to this area. I get tagged out for, for a stop loss. All of that is fair game, right? But in the long run, over a large sample size, I believe, and I'm able to quantify through my trading, that I have an edge in the market trading this simple approach. And I also have to trust my strategy and what my data, not my approach, because it's discretionary, but what my data shows me, my results show me, and you can watch it. Go back last week if you want. The lives are still up. You'll watch two really frustrating trades. One made it within one tick of my take profit. Back to break even by maybe 2 or 3 ticks where I stop loss to break even and took me out. And then continued well past my take profit. That's one example of a few that have influenced my my trade management approach. So let's see if we can get some continuation. We're back above highs here, showing me $230 some odd. I'd love to grab a 1-to-1, just back up into this 604 area, like this area of high volume right here. I'm gonna take it. Let's see, can we snag it? Can we get a little bit of a crack above? Would like to just get right up to that area. Again, gonna have to leave this one on if we start to come back down, because again, that's what my data is showing me I need to do. Not gonna scale out, not gonna close out of 2 and then go stop loss to break even. Gonna look to go full out, around the 603s. We are through the 605s really. We are through the 600s. That was an area so far. We saw some sellers step back in, pull it down. Everything in this trade tells me hold on. I have to manage it. As they come. That's it. And again, this thing turns down from here and just starts to drift lower and take me out. Part of it, man. Part of the game. It'll just be a frustrating, another frustrating trading day that I've had quite a few of. But got to stick to my guns. So that's the thought process here. That's the long-winded thought process. We hit 605s where we got some liquidity, man. $605 coming off the book. Gonna grab it right there. Right there, guys. Right into this area. A nice 1-to-1. $419 on the day. Coming back from 2 trading days, this puts me just slightly over those 2 trading days. If I'm looking at an individual account, which I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not copy trading 3 today. But like I said, when I hopped on and took that first trade, if I'm going to keep trading after taking an L, I got to keep trading after I take a win and look to secure that second winner, right? Make this a larger green day. And this is not massive, but just a hair larger than either of those last 2 trading days that I put up. So that's kind of what I look to do at a very least. For the most part, this 1-to-1 style has worked really, really well for me. It's allowed me to get in, get out, get paid, not hold for these massive trades. That one was a little bit larger. And again, this thing may run. I've had a handful of them that have continued my direction. This thing may run. It's not my trade. It's not the trade that I'm putting on. That's not the thesis. That's not what I'm aiming for. This still looks really good. So if you are long, if you're holding long, more power to you. Prior day high, clean target. Brian from the chat had some massive levels up here. This could certainly turn into a very, very large green day. And right here, right now, so far, shaping up to make the case for that. What's the highest probability? Well, it already happened, is that we hit right here, right? Next, but more rewarding would be we crack this high again. Past that would be prior day high. Just has to be your thesis. What are you trading for? But 2 W's on the day. 2 W's on the day so far. Let's kind of see what we get from here. I don't know that I would be looking for a third. Probably not going to get a setup right here real quick, but kind of let's see what we get from right here, man. I mean, you could be taking small break and retest, breakouts to the upside all the way up, right? You say, wait for a pullback. We cracked the high. I'm in long. Stop loss below here. That would have paid. Same thing down here. Stop loss below this level. In long. You're in profit right now. You could be taking these all the way up. You know, low time frame structure. But you guys had some good questions. So back to the chat. Resistance zone would be good profit taking. Yeah, here it is right here, man. There we go. Sorry, I also said liquidity was coming off at 605. So check this out. I use order flow on the side, right? We come up through the 600s. I was holding through that. We saw some pullback, and then I was watching this. I ignore this algorithmic liquidity. There's a way to clean this up, but I don't like the way that it makes the rest of the chart look. But I ignore this shit. Excuse my language. We had 605 with some orders on the book. Yeah, like 150 some odd orders. As we started to come up into it right here, actually right here at 10:46 a.m., that came off. Somebody pulled that, right? The majority of that came off the book. Started to lighten up. That's an indication that we might not want to go up and grab that, at least with as much strength as, you know, we were aiming for right before that was on the book, right? I'm using that as a target. So if my target disappears, probably want to take profit.
The job always gets done.
And so far, that looks like an okay decision. Right now, I think we're still going to head up past that high. We're going to crack it. But that was part of my decision to take profit. On both these trades, I had that happen. I had liquidity up above that I was targeting on Bookmap, and that started to come off the book. So when that happens, I just like to be a little bit extra cautious. But here we go. Trading up to the 604, 605 level. Very nice. I think we go and crack these highs, and maybe this turns into a banger of a day to the upside, man. We get this Friday relief rally. Somebody said it in the chat, and I think we may see that. Let me throw some music back on here. Otherwise, I'm going to get banned for having ads in here. That ain't it. Here we go. So hope that answers. If you guys got questions on the trading, questions on my chart, any tools that you see me use, feel free. Now's your chance, man. I'll hop on here live. I enjoy doing this with you guys. It's not fun when I have to take L's. I leave this stuff as raw as I possibly can, right? I'm trading directly from my platform here. You watch me take wins. You watch me take losses. This is the only way that I feel I can display that what my abilities are, right? And then you can make your decision whether or not you want to be here hanging out, you want to listen to anything I have to say, you want to fade me or do something different, right? Pretty much everything else under the sun is worthless. Even the payout, you know, that I posted today, everything can be edited. Everything can be, you know, live logins. We watched how that played out on Twitter. Everything can be manipulated, you know, outside of this, outside of doing it right here, right now, live with you guys. So that's why I like to do it. One of the reasons I like to do it. Looking for the retest of NY VWAP. Okay. Back to this new strategy using volume, VWAP, and CPR levels. It seems to be working for now. Nice. Long at 19,541. Thanks for explaining the detail where I fail moving stop loss all the time. Dude, the amount of times I got bottom wick to top wick makes a grown man cry. Yeah, awesome day. Thank you. Taking $400 any day of the week. 100%, man. 100%. Listen, I talked about it on Topstep TV yesterday. I was trading with those guys. And Jay and Eddie, we started talking, like, we lose, like, reality here. We really do. Like, this is a funded account eligible for a payout, right? This $400 is real. If I have to be exact about it, I would technically only be able to take 50% of that out, right? So every 50% of every dollar I'm going to be able to take out. You know, once you get to 30 trading days, you can rip the whole account out if you wanted to. But this is $400 of profit in a funded account in the blink of an eye, right? Like in an under an hour of trading with you guys here. Where else can we get that done? Where I'm literally sitting in a nice air-conditioned house pressing a button, right? you know, if you're copy trading across 10 accounts, which I have access to, that's $4,000, you know? So we oftentimes are not happy with that. We watch this other stuff on social media. You know, we see what other people are doing. We have this big round number, $1,000, $10,000, you know, whatever. And we lose track of just being able to create a positive return on investment. We lose track of like the price that we paid relative to drawdown, right? Maybe you're in a Topstep account, for example. You got to pay $150 for activation fee. It's $50 for the challenge, but maybe you don't pass it right away. Maybe it takes you, let's go like on the higher end. It takes you like 4 times to pass it. So, you know, you're in for $350. If you can clear a payout of $350 or maybe $500 or $600 or $1,000, you did great. You had a great return on your investment for that account, right? And, you know, forget about like what you've learned with, you know, maybe you lost a lot of money up front. Guys are always chasing that. And I did for a long time. Forget that shit, man. Let that go. And just think about the profit that you have and how hard you would have to work and how hard most people are working today to make $400, you know, just a thought process. And again, remember that number can be whatever you want. It can be leveraged as much as you'd like. We have this unique opportunity. I don't know how long it'll be around for, to copy trade. I utilize it. Unfortunately, today is one of the days where I'm not utilizing it here with you guys. I'm going to utilize it after I get off scalping NQ with 5 Tradeify accounts. It's been wild. You know, if you can learn how to turn a small profit consistently relative to the risk that you're putting on, you can make a lot of money doing this. You know, some people say this isn't real trading. It's a simulated market environment. It is, right? This is sim funds trading, whatever you want to call it. I do not care. You know what's real? That payout, that money that's going to hit my account probably Monday from the one that I took. So again, keep your, like just Andre said, you know, keep your frame of reference, you know, relative to what's in front of you. $400, be happy with that, man. You know, a couple $100, any amount of profit consistently, you are doing fantastic. You're doing way better than most traders who are not only not able to break even, but lose money consistently. So it's a good point, man. You know, be grateful, take what the market gives you, and try not to be greedy. You know, trade your approach, trade your system, stick to your risk management, but try not to compare yourself to others. And, you know, I try to live and die by that. It's hard. I start feeling a type of way sometimes when I hop on Instagram, right, and Twitter, and you see these wild payouts or huge numbers or whatever. That's there for those guys, you know, and it's there for us, but it can be a real thief of joy. Comparison can be a thief of joy, and it can lead you down a dark path. Ooh, this looks like we might want to break. It can lead you down a dark path to just continuing to trade, over leveraging, over risking, and it ends in blown accounts. Stack your small wins, stack your small base hits, leverage tools that are available for you, like copy trading, so you can keep risk low, you can keep profit really, really low, and make money, right? That's the goal, man. At least that's the goal for me. But, you know, like the simple math, the crazy simple math, and it doesn't work out this way, right? Trading's not linear. But let's say you averaged net $50 a day. That was, you know, essentially where you ended up with, you know, your $200 winning days and, you know, $150 losing days and $300 win and, you know, $100 loss and break even. You were netting $50 a day. That's 10 grand if you were copy trading 10 prop firm accounts, which I do, which you can do with just 2 firms. You can copy trade more than that, and maybe you're going to make more on average than $50 a day. Again, it never works like that. It never works exactly $50 a day. But that's the power that we have. That's the availability that we have in front of us. The price for those 10 accounts is wildly low relative to what you would have to put in a live account to take on that kind of risk and make that kind of profit. So the opportunities are there. Just keep it in control. Keep your expectations in control. Don't go so hot right out of the gate, man. Just work on stacking your small base hits, and most importantly, just developing some consistency, an approach, a system that you like to apply in the markets every day. Take your losses in stride, take your wins in stride, create a simple feedback loop, and continue to adapt and improve. That's the message, man. Watch your mindset, Watch the way that you're thinking about trading, your understanding of the markets. And again, this stuff, I'm describing it this way. This is not easy. This stuff is not easy by any means. It's simple, but it's not easy. You know, go back and watch me take L's yesterday and the day before if you need to, to remember that. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm on here doing it live with you guys every day. But these are the things that I feel help me, and maybe you'll find value. So that's the thought process. That's my rant for the morning. Watching this break high, hopefully we do get a push higher. Again, I'm not long. I'm out at a level that makes sense to me. Not my trade, but I just want to see if anything else sets up from up here. Brian, if you're still on here, you holding high? You holding long here? You rip into the upside on this bad boy? I'm interested to hear. Letting IB high break before I take this. Okay, got you. I'm sorry, Brian. You said it before I even asked it. So, nice, brother. Like we just talked about, don't get greedy. But first off, don't let me or anybody else tell you what to do. Second off, this thing's ripping to the upside. But if you're hitting your levels, take some off where you want to take some off. Do your thing, man. Momentum through this high, beautiful, man. Look at that, ripping to the upside. Long was the play today, directly through this. Like I said, I can watch this comfortably, right? Taking my trade off where I took my trade off, knowing that this would have been more profit. That's not my trade. But I'm interested to see what happens here today. This may be a big recovery day. I don't know that we get it. I think it's likely that we pull back in here at some point, maybe continue for an afternoon drift. But what a gnarly pop up above the highs, man. Crack the high, immediate 12.5 point 50 tick move towards prior day high. Looks like we want to go crack that. Let's see what we get here. I'd consider something if it's set up, but I don't have a trade right here right now. But I don't mind watching and talking with you guys, waiting to see if something sets up. Taking 400. Yeah. Do we have to make $200 minimum a day to get paid? So with Topstep in an express funded account, once you pass the evaluation, you need 5 $200 winning days before you're qualified for a payout. That's the payout qualification for Topstep. You also have to have a balance to be able to take a payout, and you're eligible for up to 50% of that balance on your first payout. With Tradeify, you do not need minimum $200 days, but you do have different qualifications before a payout. There's multiple, but the main is 10 minimum trading days. So you have to put a trade on. Doesn't have to be a winner or a loser. You just have to trade 10 days. You also have to have a certain balance in the account, whereas Topstep requires you to make a certain amount of money per day for a certain amount of days. Tradeify doesn't, but you have to have a certain amount of balance in the account before you can take a payout. For the 50K account, it's 3,000, and you're able to take out 2,000, more than 50%. You also have a consistency rule where you can have no one single day be larger than 20% of your profit. So you can't have one banger day and then request a payout. You can't YOLO accounts. So hope that helps. But as I always say, read thoroughly the rules, regulations, go through the frequently asked questions, page on any prop firm that you're thinking about trading with. Understand these rules on the front end before you put your hard-earned money on the line, and then realize there was some rule that you didn't know about. And more realistic to think averaging $50 a day versus every day. Sorry, this keeps popping up. Your insight is also great to hear. Yeah, for sure. Again, like, trading's non-linear, right? So let's be really clear about this. You'll never get a consistent paycheck from trading the way you will with any other career. I don't care who you are. You will have you'll have larger months. You'll have red months. Most guys do not have, let me not speak for everybody. Most guys don't make a set amount every day trading. Most guys don't. You might go on a really gnarly winning streak and have a lot of consistency, but most guys do not make a set amount every single day consistently. It's typically not how it works. Most guys, including myself, have red days, green days, and break-even days. And that translates to red weeks, green weeks, break-even weeks, and red months, break-even months, and green months. And for a lot of larger traders, that also means a difference from the larger monthly into yearly perspective. The goal, of course, is to have an edge in the market, be able to execute, and make money in the long run over a large sample size of trades. What that equity curve looks like for everybody is drastically different, but it is non-linear. It's non-linear. So when I talk about that $50 per day or $100 per day, it's a silly thing to say because you're never going to have that type of consistency. And if you hunt for that, you're in for a rude awakening. But you can say averaging $50 a day, right? So let's say I'm trading, and through my wins and losses, through my $400 winning days and $400 losing days, and then larger winning days and smaller losing days and break evens and everything in between, I'm averaging $50 a day in an account. I'm averaging $250, on the week. And I average $1,000 across 20 trading days in a month, right? Which there aren't always. There's holidays, whatever. The simple math there is if you're copy trading 10 accounts, that's $10K a month. So that's the thought process there. But I'm happy to break it down and not be the clickbaity, oh, all you got to do is make $50 a day. I get a little bit of engagement doing that stuff, but I like to be really clear about it. It's non-linear. You're not going to make $50 every single day. But if you put it in perspective, that if you were able to net on average just a small amount of money, $100 in your account, rather than trying to make $1,000 every effing day like I see so many people do and run themselves into the ground, you can make money. You can leverage copy trading. You can build a small base in one account and scale up. There's a million different ways you can go about it. So lower your expectation, man. You don't have to put on this massive risk. We're working with tight drawdown in these accounts. 2K in a 50K account. That's all you have to work with. It's not reasonable to hop in day one and try to double that account and make $2,000. At least in my world, I don't think you're going to have a lot of consistency doing that. I just don't. It's my 2 cents. $200 per account or all copy trade accounts? Sorry for asking. No, these are good questions. It's fine. So in Topstep, every account is treated individually, right? So whether you're copy trading or not, when you go to request a payout, it's all individual. So you can copy trade evals, you can copy trade funded accounts, but they are treated individually, and you have to make $200 a day per day in whatever account you want to become eligible for a payout for with Topstep. So that's fine. But again, and I don't mind talking about this stuff because it's helpful. Read the rules. I don't speak for Topstep. I don't work for Topstep. Read the rules for any firm in detail that you are going to consider trading with. Read through the frequently asked questions page, which is where they usually are. Go through everything. Payout requirements, different rules, things around news, things around trading styles, buffer requirements, what happens when you take a payout, right? All of that stuff. Watching this crack to the upside, still pushing. Didn't go and tag prior day high. Brian, nice trade, man. Very nice trade. Longs with a play out of this zone, man. Very nice trade on both of these. I'm happy catching longs here, and I'm happy catching longs here. Could have a little bit better entry, but I waited a little bit. I waited for this structure to start to form, right? If I played the chart back and put a line right here, this is downtrend. This is really aggressive. We do test VWAP and get closes above, but that means I probably could have taken it here. I probably could have taken it here. I probably could have taken it here. I'm waiting for a little bit more structure coming out of this area, and so my entry was a little bit high, but to me that generates just a little bit higher probability of a trade, although it's very hard to quantify and I'm not able to, so I shouldn't really use that word. But to me, subjectively, a trade that I think is more likely to work out because I've waited for more time out of that VWAP. I've waited for buyers to show some strength taking it off of this VWAP that we don't, in fact, want to continue lower. But nice trades to the upside today. I'm happy with it. Flowing with higher time frame trend, low time frame trend for the day, for the session, pushing to the upside, watching price action as we had these news wicks, these sweeps down below. Simple stuff, working today. I'm happy with it. So appreciate you guys hopping on here. Again, we were talking a little bit about Topstep. I'm going to drop the link again. Code RDF at all your favorite prop firms, not Topstep. But Tradeify, which I'm going to be trading after I hop off this stream with you guys. Straight to funded account, no eval, 35% off, code RDF. makes the 50K funded accounts $330, right about $330. Pretty sweet. No complaints with them so far. Just got started a couple weeks ago, so I'll always keep you guys updated. Yeah, I think there's a wild opportunity between straight to funded accounts and copy trading that are not inherently crazy new. Straight to funded's pretty new for futures, but I'm going to look to leverage that. I'm going to look to take advantage of those opportunities in front of me. I don't have an ego. I don't care, about sim trading or straight to funded or copy trading not being whatever. I'm going to leverage the tools in front of me. That's what my game plan is. I've traded plenty of live accounts. I've traded live Forex accounts, live crypto accounts way back in the day when I was just losing money. I have my investment brokerage accounts, work with stocks, work with equities, all that fun stuff, man. Index funds, plenty of live stuff going on. Here, what I'm doing with you guys is looking to leverage these futures prop firms, try to demonstrate what can be done. If you're looking to just take it slow and low, if you want to watch the guy copy trade, 100 accounts and YOLO them for CPI, that's out there too, and that might work really well for some guys. And maybe I'll be at a level and a point where I am doing that, at some point, and I'm not knocking that in any way. But for the most part, what you see out of me is a little bit more conservative, just a little bit more conservative. There's not a massive amount of money getting fed into, shooting for massively high payouts. Probably at some point, right? But for now, getting comfortable. Like, why do I have to find out? Because I'm not comfortable on like Tradeify. Why do I have to find out that a bracket order doesn't set in any other way outside of the DOM when I set it up? And I have to have a trade run with no stop loss, before I'm ready for that. So that's kind of the thought process. But in any event, guys, happy Friday. I'm going to wrap it up here. I appreciate you being on. Subscribe if you were on for this one. You want to chat for next time. Slam the like button. Hop in the free Discord. Not a massively beautiful week. I'm going to have to look at some accounts, but I believe I'm going to end red overall for Topstep. I got some trading to do after I hop off with you guys, some of the scalping stuff that I'm working on, but we'll see how we end up. But traded our strategy, traded our approach, let it play out in the market. Didn't do anything wild, and happy with the results. Happy with another trading week. So see you guys next week. I'll be talking in Discord, of course, to you guys. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, social media, all the fun stuff. I'll be putting out more videos here on YouTube, making more more long form stuff. And then, of course, here live with you guys almost every damn day. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. I'm just an idiot yapping on YouTube. Don't take anything I say seriously. It's all for entertainment purposes only. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. Nothing I say is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content like Tradeify. Nice, Brian. Just hopping back on. See you later. Good trades. Good trades, Brian. Good trades. Talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend. Get outside, touch some grass, even if you're going to get back testing in, get your review in. But get outside, spend time with your friends, family, loved ones, dogs, yourself. If you don't have any of those, go touch nature. Go touch some concrete if you're in the city. Get outside, breathe some fresh air. Talk to you guys soon. Have an awesome weekend. See you on Monday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern.